Welcome to the Talk by Elevation. My name's Addison Perry, and we have a very exciting guest here today. Stephen Beseda is currently the founder of Rain Basketball USA. But before we dive in and get to know a little bit about you, let's talk about Fan Day Nation here. Big news from Fan Day Nation. We're rolling out a new program designed to help athletes and coaches shine on and off the field. To celebrate, you can get a 10% off your services right now. From highlight reels and recruitment visibility to branding, media training, and leadership strategies, this is your chance to build your brand, your business, and your legacy. Don't wait. Use code MJ100OFF at checkout and save 10%. Visit fandaynation.com to get started. Okay, well, to get started, let's take you back to when you were a kid, basketball during your youth. Kind of tell me what that was like.
Yeah, so I started playing basketball at a really young age. I grew up in it was a small town at the time, Bothell, Washington. Okay. And then we moved over to Kingston, Washington, which is where I grew up. Really small town and around a lot of really small towns, but I just loved playing, and I wasn't very good at it, but I really liked it. And I grew up a little bit more on the low middle income scale and, limited resources. So I didn't have the opportunity to pay for like extra training or like nice camps and stuff. And so I just did my best, but it was something I really loved doing. And I'm a very stubborn human being when I choose to be. And I was really stubborn with basketball. So it ended up working out in the long term. I played, got into high school, got hurt in a car accident with my mom. So I couldn't play for the high school team.
Sorry. That's terrible.
It's okay. And so I played with the summer team, which, it was what it was. But I ended up going to college. I walked on and got a scholarship. And
awesome.
Here I am now.
Where was that at?
I played at JUCO in Bremerton, Washington. It was Olympic College. It's still there.
Okay.
Shouldn't say was, but yeah.
Awesome. How many years did you go there for?
I did my full 2 years there, and then I got a offer to play at Western Oregon, which is a Division II school.
Cool.
My scholarship was contingent on not redshirting.
Okay.
For any reason, especially because I was an out-of-state player.
Gotcha.
And I had destroyed both my ankles. My left one my freshman year and my right one my sophomore year. And, I saw the student trainers, which, ice, elevate, compress kind of thing.
Right, the basics.
And then I just started having issues. So I went and saw my doctor, and he said, you're not playing for a year. You might not ever play again. You've got a few different options you got to look through. Surgery was one of them. I ended up avoiding surgery. I did get a chance to go through the healing process, but I was going to have to redshirt, so I lost my scholarship, and I couldn't afford to pay for a full year of out-of-state tuition. So I took the year off, rehabbed, worked, and then I graduated from Central Washington University.
Okay, cool. Well, that's a crazy story, a whole reroute from what you had to be, but, life's life. I guess you can't plan it.
That's right.
So since you didn't get to necessarily, play that basketball as long as you maybe have wanted to, how did that kind of turn into your love for creating your brand, Rain Basketball?
You're going to like this. So I actually didn't want to play basketball or be attached to basketball after I inevitably just kind of had my career fizzle out. I did want to try and play overseas and make some sort of a career out of it, which I thought I had a fair chance at prior to my career ending, not on my terms. And so I got my exercise science degree. I worked and lived in Seattle for a little while, and then I moved to Newport Beach, California. I'm a strength conditioning coach, and so I got my certification. I set up my training business down there, and in the process of getting life rolling, I had like 3 jobs.
Working hard.
I had started my training business, but I was working out of an LA Fitness as a trainer in the mornings, basically, as I was kind of getting my own business set up. And I would just go in the gym and shoot hoops a little bit here and there when I had like a break in between clients. Well, I did that, pretty regularly because I usually had a break at a certain time. And so, usually get the same flow of people. Yeah. And there were a couple women that came into the actual basketball court and they're like, hey, we see you in here every day. like shooting, and we have kids that suck at basketball, and like they're the worst. Like they're first of all in like this rec league, and they're the worst on their teams.
You're like
They
the
really
last
need
help.
help.
They're like, come on.
Yeah, they're like, do you know anything about basketball? And I was like, I mean, I know a little.
Basically, yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, do you think you could help them? I was like, sure. When you say help them, like, what are we talking about? And they're like, well, could you just like give them, a lesson once a week or something? I was like, yeah, no worries. Like, okay, well, what would you charge? Now, mind you, I'm in Orange County, California.
Okay.
And this is in the, 2007, 2008 when I'm in this part of my life. And so, and you have to remember, I grew up not like
Right.
with a lot of money anywhere. And so I'm thinking like, $20 is probably, if I tell them
About
20 bucks,
average,
that's probably going to be like,
Right.
that might scare them away, right?
Exactly.
And when I tell them 20 bucks, they were laughing at me.
They're like,
and I'm
really?
like,
That's like $1 to them.
in my head, I'm like, why would you be laughing? Like,
Like, what are you talking about?
it's $10? Like, I'm trying to like figure out where is this the scale? And they're like, you're joking, right? And I was like,
No.
no. And they're like, we're going to pay you $40.
Nice.
And we'll start there per lesson. And we want 2 lessons a week. It's like, okay. So I did that. Now, their kids went from being the worst to the best in a short amount of time. But in respect, and I don't want anybody to think this is because I'm so amazing. This is a rec league. All these kids had 1 practice a week for like an hour, and then they'd play a game.
Gosh.
Most of these kids probably didn't touch a basketball outside of this 1 hour. And, they're kids. So ultimately, and it's dad's coaching, right?
Right.
So they're probably playing knockout. You know what I mean? Like they're not doing anything productive. They're probably learning how to like play zone defense and run an offense. You're not going to get better. So if you're doing anything else, you'll get better. So these 2 kids, ended up doing really well at the end. So they keep me training them. And then one of the moms is like, hey, I've got a couple, there are a couple people that were asking about how our kids got so good.
Right.
Mind you, let's
Look at that.
keep in
They're the talk
context what
around
so
town.
good is because they're just better than all the other kids that didn't know how to play. And so they're like, hey, can we give your number out? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, we told everybody that you were $50 an hour. I was like, okay.
Nice.
I had like 9 phone calls in a week.
No way.
And all these parents wanted 2 lessons a week. So I'm now going to make more money doing these lessons in a small window. I quit 2 of my jobs like that week. So I was like, okay,
$50 an hour,
I can actually like now just focus on the things I want to do. So I quit my other jobs. I'm still building my training and gym business, but now I have this other thing, which is basketball. So I'm going to fast forward a lot now because a lot happened. So I went from training kids to being in this rec league where, it's all dad's coaching.
Okay.
Did really well there because I'm going against a lot of people that don't respectfully know much about basketball.
Okay.
I end up getting pushed into like some higher levels of this. And when I got into kind of what their club side was, I didn't really agree with how they were doing things. So I just went off on my own and started what is Rain Basketball, though it wasn't called Rain right away. It was called Irvine OC Rain. So it was because I was in Irvine area. And then a few years later, I closed that non-for-profit and started Rain Basketball, which is what this is.
Okay.
And my success comes from the standpoint of if you're going to do something, give it 100%.
Right.
I really get irritated with that saying, give 110%. I know why people say it, but you can't give more than 100%. So the one coach who I really don't like in life, he was a horrible human being, but the smartest thing I've ever heard anybody say came from him, which is you can't give more than 100%. And he's right. You really can't. You have 100%, so give whatever you have every day, right? And your 100% will look different every day. And I tell my kids every practice, look, you're not going to be able to give the same 100% every day, but give 100% of whatever you have. And I'm going to give you 100% of whatever I have. And because I'm so focused on making sure I do my best and that I continue to learn, grow, develop, because I'm not the greatest coach of all time. I'm never going to be. There's always going to be somebody better. But if I'm striving to always be the greatest at what I do, I'm going to fall short of being the greatest, which is way better than trying to fall short of being average and being below average, right?
100%.
So that's really the journey of Rain Basketball. Was I started there, it grew, I eventually ended up with who's our vice president, Chris Guild. He had his own basketball thing up in the Inland Empire. We decided to come together, and so then that was the IE Rain chapter, and then we built one out in Vegas, and we have one out here, and just continues to kind of focus on growing it, hopefully the smartest, most disciplined way, and making sure that we're doing the best job we can in the communities that we're in. It's really what our focus is.
Awesome. So you said you have that in Vegas, in
Yes.
Denver. Where else do you have?
Orange County, California, and Inland Empire, California.
Okay. And how do you base, I guess, off your thing? Do you base it off the communities that you're around?
Yeah, so we find someone that we think will be a quality chapter director,
Okay.
train that person, onboard them into what we do, and then we have tryouts, and from tryouts we'll build out our teams or skills academy or whatever we have. And so like for Orange County, Inland Empire, and Denver, we have teams, skills, camps, all that stuff. In Vegas, it's a little different right now. So we have a skills academy there, and Vegas is a unique market.
Yeah,
It's,
Vegas.
we're kind of deciding what we're going to do there, but trying to get something off the ground running the right way. But it's just such a challenging market, and it's also challenging to find facilities. Like, I know that everybody thinks that this is such an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have you have a kid and they have 8 or 9 friends and they all want to do this one thing together, and parents don't really care if it's indoor, outdoor, that kind of stuff, you could probably figure it out, right? For however long you do it for. But when you actually do it on a higher level, it's really hard, man.
I bet.
Getting facility contracts. I mean, it's just, there's so many things that nobody thinks about until you start it. And this is also why, you see, at least in my world, right, from a basketball standpoint, you see clubs come and go every year.
Yeah.
And I have, I would say, a lot of relationships. And so I hear everybody else's pain points. And, most people have other careers and they do this as their side thing.
Right,
which
more of a
is,
hobby.
Yeah, because it's hard.
Yeah, seriously.
So I've been blessed. I get to do this for my career. I love doing it. It's what I do full time. And
it's amazing.
And my focus is just that we continue to do it at our best every year, and that we continue to grow in the right direction.
Yeah, that's super great. Thank you for sharing that with me. I love getting to hear your journey and, where it all started, and the love and the passion and the drive you have for it. What was something you kind of had as a kid that inspired you, to change this program for basketball?
Well, I wouldn't say it really happened as a kid. As a kid, I think I love my parents. Have great relationships with them. My parents have been married for 44 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
My parents aren't the most competitive people unless it comes to card games.
I love your card game.
My parents aren't the ones that are really gonna push you towards excellence. They kind of hey, you're just gonna figure out, your journey's your journey. You'll figure it out.
Right.
Which is,
blessing and a curse.
It is, man. And I never had, from a young age growing up, I never had anybody that really helped hey,
guide you.
This is really hard. You got to do all these things. You got to dedicate,
time.
If this is what you want to do, there's this whole thing you got to be willing to give up, and there's all these things you need to do. I just kind of lived life and figured it out every day on my own, but I wasn't laser focused on it. I thought I was, in all honesty, I thought I was way better than I was, and I just thought I'd be in the NBA.
Right.
And, I watched Michael Jordan and David Robinson, all these, I remember going and watching the Supersonics and watching Sean Kemp and Gary Payton and Eric Snow and Detlef and all these guys that were just phenomenal basketball players. And I just had no context, right, to how they got there. So I was I'll just use
I'll be like them.
Yeah.
Easy.
I'll go shoot in my driveway
right. And
for
you'll
a
just
half
figure it
hour
out
every day, and I'll just, this is where I'll be. Once I got into college, that was the light switch that really turned on, and I was wow, you really, this is...
You got to figure it out.
Very, very different. You have to be so dedicated. And so I had this phenomenal coach in college. His name's Reese Glico. And I want to say I just saw this thing that was posted. I think he's in the top 5 players to ever, for basketball players to ever in the state of Montana. He's not in the top 5. He's definitely in the top 10. He was my coach.
Nice.
He was like a drill sergeant. He just destroyed our lives every day, man.
Oh, gosh.
But 3 of my closest friends came from my college team. But everything I learned from him is really why I'm in the boat I'm in from a basketball standpoint. And so when I got into California and coaching in these leagues and stuff initially, the reason why I went on my own was I was just disgusted with how things were being done. And there was no real emphasis on helping kids that wanted to take basketball seriously and actually giving them a path. And since I went through probably every hard bump you could have gone through to get to where I was like, dude, I want to make sure that I'm positively contributing to basketball and to people who actually want to take this seriously. And I have this conversation all the time, which is, as a coach, I know I'm not for everybody because not everybody really wants to be great. Everybody thinks they want to be great, and everybody will say they want to be great. And I was guilty of that as a kid.
Right.
But I now understand and know what it means and what it takes to get there. And I would be doing a disservice to anybody that I coach or work with if I'm not like telling them this is what it's going to be and then having that standard for them. And so every team that I've coached, I will, typically have 1 or 2 kids after a couple weeks are like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not doing this.
You're like, I'm out.
So I did pivot. This is my first year ever. So I have an 8th grade boys team I'm coaching.
Okay, cool.
And
where's that at?
It's with my Denver. So it's with Rain Basketball. It's my Denver. It's my Denver Rain 14U team.
Awesome.
So I decided I'm going to invite 11 kids.
Okay.
There's no tryouts for this team.
All right. It's just
best decision I ever made.
Really?
I will never do tryouts for my own team again. No, because these kids all understood what it was. Like, I talked to all the parents and the kids. I explained how this was going to be, what it was really going to be like, and it's been phenomenal. I would say this is the best experience I've ever had from a coaching standpoint. I've been coaching for 20 years. So I've always had tryouts. Yeah. And I think I've learned probably one of the best lessons, which is I'm married to all these people for a year. Mm-hmm. I should be picking who I want to be married to. Because I'm not married to the kids, I'm married to their parents.
Right.
And so, but honestly, greatest decision I've ever made. Like, this season could not have gone better so far. So I took a bunch of kids, just for context. You have 3 levels, right? You have bronze, silver, and gold. Okay. In club, typically, right?
Right.
In general. All the guys that I invited onto this team, they weren't all Denver Rain kids initially. Or maybe they were initially, but they might have been playing for their clubs or whatever. So invited all these different kids. All of them were bronze level kids, silver level kids. And most of them, I'd say at least half of them have never started in a game. Maybe a little over half. Wow. We are beating the brakes off gold level teams. We're mercying. So the mercy rules, if you're up by like 30, they end the game 3 minutes early. Right. We just mercied 2 gold level teams. Okay. And this is only our 3rd weekend playing. So we've only been going for
Wow. So what's the secret is just not having tryouts?
I think the secret is, for me anyways, was having a group of young men that truly understood what this was going to look like, and they made that commitment. And they made the commitment not just to themselves and not just to me and not just to the parents, but they made it with all these other young men. And they hold each other accountable and they work really hard. I mean, it really has been, it's been awesome. And, for me also, it's more than just basketball. It's, there is a standard for school. Like, if you're not getting good grades, and I will check in,
Exactly. Student first.
Yeah, we have priorities. It's faith, family, school, basketball. So all the families know, and they've all bought into this. And I've gotten 3 of the families have called me in the last 2 weeks and told me that their kids were the kids always getting in trouble at school, or they were always getting calls about, or they weren't taking their grades seriously, or, whatever these issues are. And they said, like, now all the teachers have said how outstanding they are as a student. Like, how I was saying there, as a person, they're not distracting kids anymore. They're actually having the teachers' backs. They're getting good, like all the kids across the board now are all getting good grades. And like, they're all getting like A's
That's
and
like a
B's.
Coach Carter moment right here.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. So it's been really cool to see that all these young men have bought into this vision of what we've now setting out to do. And they're all fully committed. And it's having massive positive effect in their school life and their home life. I had a couple of kids who were getting into a little bit more trouble with their families. And they said, dude, since you started doing this and they've been part of this, like we've had no problem. So when they have to give their parents their cell phones before bed, they said that used to be always a battle and they'd fight and argue and stuff. They said they come and they give us right on the dot, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whenever it is, phone's off, parents have the phone, kid goes to bed.
Wow. Discipline.
And so these young men are fully committed to this. And so this year was kind of like my, we'll say, pilot program. I want to see how it's going to go.
Yeah.
It's gone so well. I'm like, I'm never going back to how I did
Right.
things. Like any team I'm coached, this is exactly how I'm going to do it. It's been great.
Right.
So I've really enjoyed it so far. It's been awesome.
Good. That's awesome. What have you, so I know that you originally coached girls basketball.
So I have, yeah. So I've coached both girls and boys. But here in this state, when we moved here, I fell into a girls' varsity job at what used to be Bishop Matchbuff High School. They closed in June.
Okay.
And so I actually rented the gym for my club teams. I coached our
Cool.
top 17U national team. And I had become friends with the athletic director. One night we practiced late at night,
Right.
or later at night, so 7:30 to 9 or 9:30. Anyway, so the next morning I get up early and I was kind of getting my day started, and I got a phone call from him, and he doesn't usually call me, and certainly not early in the morning. So I thought like something
going
had
on.
happened, right?
Right.
Like I left lights on or a door was like left open or whatever, which I'm really meticulous. I don't usually leave lights on or anything. So, but I answered the phone and he's like, "Hey, you got a couple minutes?" And I was like,
Uh-oh.
"Oh no, like what did I do?"
You're like freaking out. You're like shuffling through.
Yeah. He's like, "Hey, so I was watching your practice last night and I was really impressed with how you ran things. And we just fired our 5th girls varsity coach in 5 years."
Wow. One every year.
Yeah. And he's like, "Our girls program is like in the dumps.
Struggling.
I don't even know if we're going to have one, but I really need help with someone coming in and fixing that." And I was like, "Sure. What do you need from me? Like, do you need me to like ask my staff?" He's like, No. I want you to do it. I was like, "Okay, yeah, that'd be fun. I'd really enjoy that." So I went through the process, got hired on, and my first season there, I had the youngest girls varsity team in the entire state of Colorado, regardless of division.
Okay.
All freshmen and sophomores for the most part. We had 1 junior and 2 seniors. Mm-hmm. And I had 1 girl who knew how to play basketball.
Only one.
1.
Wow.
All the other girls knew what a basketball was, but and some of them had played on the team before, but
It wasn't.
they did not truly understand basketball. Like when I came in, making a layup was a problem.
So it's starting from scratch.
Starting from scratch, the one girl I had, her name was Eve, and she was a killer, which was really helpful. So I had 1 killer, and then I had a bunch of girls that wanted to learn, and to their credit, just worked so hard. And it worked out well. I'll never forget our very first game. We're up at Bennett in this tournament, which is 3 games.
Nice.
And we're playing a school, a DTS school. And so, there's a bunch of different teams for boys and girls. So you basically have a classroom assigned to you
Okay.
for, your locker room.
For the day, yeah.
And so I'm in there. And so, obviously I get the girls situated. I always give them 5-10 minutes to get dressed and everything. And I go sit in the gym or whatever, because obviously I'm not going to be in the room with them.
Right.
So I come, knock on the door, come on inside, and the girls are like, "Hey, can we just run to the bathroom really quickly?" So sure, go do whatever you need to do. All the girls leave. They all come back, and they're freaking out. And I'm like, "Dude, what? Like,
what just happened?"
We literally have not played a game yet." So I'm like, "What's the problem?" And also, just this is important.
Okay.
They don't win games.
Okay.
So you go on max preps, like they were losing games like 70-2, 65-5.
Like blowouts.
They were getting absolutely mangled for like the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
They
So
just
the confidence
don't win
is
games.
just
They
shot.
don't win games. So any of the girls that had played are only used to losing. They've
Right.
never had a good season. So they come like, Coach, the girls, they're going to kill us. Like, what are you talking about? We're literally not even on the court yet.
know.
We're
Like, we
in a
haven't even
classroom. Like, no, we saw them in the or in the bathroom. They're huge. They're tall. They're athletic. I'm like, all right. We've worked really hard.
Yeah.
I literally don't care what they look like. I promise you that if you do the things that we worked on, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I think we won that game like 85-11.
That's awesome.
So my very first game, I set the record for a point deficit for a win. So we started our season off 2-0. We beat the next team, which was a lot better, but we still handled them pretty well. And then Bennett, who was the hosting team, they were just such a well-organized, oiled machine, man. They were just tough. They did beat us. I think they beat us by like 20. But there was just like, I knew they were going to be hard, which was great because we needed to have a really well-organized, well-run team that we could learn from.
Yeah. 100%.
They just did not make, they didn't make easy mistakes. We did. We would go
those turnovers.
And then we got, but from there we grew. We ended up winning one game. I think we won like 93 to, 25 or something. And, in respect, like some of those games when people see the score, like I didn't let my girls get steals. They weren't allowed to press. They weren't allowed to make layups. Everybody had to score. They weren't allowed, we would work on our stuff. And so, there was one coach who got really mad at me. I'm like, dude, what do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. At a certain point, I've coached my girls to play basketball. You've had the same thing.
Right.
I respectfully had nothing when I got here except for one player. And I've worked my tail off to develop this team. Mm-hmm. And we were nice to you guys. We didn't press you after the first couple of minutes because we figured you guys, I saw how bad it was.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? Have my girls sit down on the sideline and just pass the ball into your team?
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do for you. And I think that that's really important for coaches to understand. I feel like everybody thinks they can coach until they get into it. But if you're not going to coach to really make people better, just don't do it.
Yeah.
If it's for your ego, go do something else.
Right.
You should be doing it to truly invest and make positive differences in the people that you're coaching. And part of that is I hate it when people say, well, I walked into a bad situation. I made my name walking into bad situations. I actually like it. I love going into a school that can't win, that has no kids that can play basketball. They're just awful. Because if you do things, in my opinion, whatever the right way is, you will win games. We had a winning record. We ended our season 10-9, which was the first winning season they have had in 7 or 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And this is, with some really stinking good teams. Heritage Christian was in our league, and they won state 3 or 4 times in the last few years. Their head coach, Joe, is a phenomenal human being. Great coach. Really understands how to connect with his players and stuff. I mean, they're really good.
Right.
And there were some others just Denver Christian.
It's crazy.
They're killers, man. Yeah. They beat the brakes off of us.
Is this 4A, 5A?
3A.
3A.
And then we dropped to 2A, and then they sold the school the year that we dropped. So in the second year I came in, I built the team. I actually had a JV and then a varsity.
You're so stoked.
And I put together the hardest schedule I could for our varsity team because I wanted to make a run in playoffs. And because my goal was 3 years win state.
Yeah.
So we did year one. Mm-hmm. We missed playoffs by 1 game. Year 2 was to get in the playoffs and make it to at least the Elite 8, if not the Final 4. And then year 3 was to win it all.
Right. Good goal.
Year 2, I lose. So they announced the closure of the school. I lose almost all my starters. We got to play 2 games, and I did lose all my starters because the rest of them had transferred out at that point. Lost my whole JV team. So I had a team of, I want to say I had 9 girls, 4 JV girls, and 5 varsity girls. Boy. And, we never forfeited any games, which honestly was probably one of the most proud things because I didn't know if we were going to have a season.
Right.
We played our whole schedule, and some of those games we played with literally only 5 girls, and 1 was sick and 1 was hurt, and we still finished the game. I think we won like 8 games. So I'm like 8 and I'll say it was like 8 and 14 or 8 and 15.
Well, with 5 girls at that time, that's insane.
But we still had some pretty big notable victories. We played this team, the Lions, and they had beaten us maybe less than 2 weeks in our house. I think they beat us by like 65 points. Our last game of the season was against them in our house, but we were the visitor because we were the hosting site and they were the home team.
Got it.
And we beat them by 4 points.
Nice.
And they had the exact same team. They just had this one girl
That
who
had to be
like
so exciting.
mangled us, and we were able to shut her down. That was exciting, and that was how we ended our season. And it couldn't have been happier. It was such an emotional ride for that group because it was just there was so much chaos and adversity. I know we all say that word, but when you have like all these things that are out of your control and like every day it's like, hey, not only are we shutting the school down, now everything's being removed. Hey, now this is happening. It's like every day it was just like the bad news of what's going on. Then you still have kids leaving and there's no stability. And it just really created a lot of extra chaos. So, but we ended how we did. And it was, for me, a successful season, even though from a record standpoint, it wasn't maybe as successful as I was hoping, but proud of those girls. And we definitely had a wild year, man.
Yeah, I
So,
can only imagine.
Taking this year off from high school coaching, which is nice to just catch
Breathe.
my breath.
Yep.
And I was blessed with a lot of people that reached out offering jobs, which was really nice, made me feel good. But my wife and I, we had long conversations about it, usually on Sunday mornings on our way to church. And I've got 2 little girls, a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old, and my 9-year-old has some health stuff, and so take a year to be dad. Right. And I coach my 8th grade boys, which we go 3-4 days a week, so that by itself keeps me busy. And I also get to be a dad and eat dinner with my family and not come home at midnight and not get to interact with my kids, so that's nice.
Exactly. Are you gonna put those girls into basketball in the future, you think?
Scarlett's playing now. She came to camps this year, so I had the blessing of coaching her for a little bit. She worked with a couple of my other coaches, though. We have a skills academy, and so she works with my skills academy coaches because I have practice the same nights that she has skills. Okay. And my little 4-year-old, she dribbles basketballs around the house, so I'm sure she'll probably figure it out here sooner versus later. But, I guess to the credit of my parents, I do feel like they need to figure out what their passion is first. Mm-hmm. I'll invest in it and I'll absolutely help them, but I also don't want to be the one that's like overbearing and pushing them to be excellent. Because as a strength conditioning coach, which I did for 15 years, I had kids that were like high Division I level athletes in the sports that they were playing, right? And they got burnt out. And so then when it came, they hated it. So then when it came time for like playing in high school or even going to college and playing that sport, they either went to play a different sport and decided not to even play in college, or they played a different sport in college for a year or two and eventually gave it up. And I saw that happen more often than not, which was really weird. But I understand it, because if you start playing a sport and that's like becomes your job at 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, you're going to get tired.
Well, just think about it. Let's say 9, because a lot of parents really push their kids at 9. Well, by the time you're 18, half your life has been about this one thing, and your whole life has been structured around it. Yeah, of course you're going to get burnt out.
I can relate to this more than anyone. I've had the same thing. It was softball for me. Like, it was like since, 7. Okay. Like constant every weekend. And then my dad was my coach, and it was like, go, go, go. And then I had other coaches. And then, like you said, it's half your life. And like for those younger kids and stuff, I always remember the hardest part kind of being like not getting to go to those like birthday parties or getting to hang out with your friends on those weekends because you have those tournaments. Right. And that's a sacrifice, and that's something that you give up and everything. But how does that kind of impact, guess the future of your family and you yourself?
For me, so my daughter, Scarlett, since she's the one that's old enough to do stuff, so she has a really rare disease. And so she was really active. So she used to snowboard with me. We'd skateboard. She was in jiu-jitsu. Cool. She did soccer, gymnastics, Like she was super active. And so when her disease kicked in, I mean, she got to a place where she couldn't even walk anymore. But she definitely couldn't do anything. So her disease basically like impacted her skeletal structure to where like her bones could break like super easy. So she's now on the upside of that. But like to give you an understanding, so my 4-year-old and my 9-year-old, so Scarlett's 9, Talia's 4,
Okay.
we had them run a race against each other. Well, of course you'd think the 9-year-old's going to win.
Right.
Like any 9-year-old would win. My 9-year-old daughter doesn't know how to run because you figure that out when you're a kid. It's a natural thing that you do, chasing, you know,
Is she couldn't?
your friends
Yeah.
and playing.
Right.
She can't run. So my 4-year-old beat her. My 4-year-old is not like the craziest, fastest kid. This isn't like a little Usain Bolt. You know what I mean? So now I have to spend time teaching my 9-year-old how to run. But she's 9, so like she doesn't really like necessarily want to spend the time and energy and
Right.
focus on it, you know. So it's a challenge. Being a parent, I think being a parent is a challenge anyways. When you have a kid that has such a rare condition and has to overcome some of these major hurdles, it's also a challenge. And my wife was also my wife way more talented in sports than I was. She was a softball and soccer player.
Awesome.
But she's decided, you know, when she went to college, she wanted to go and party. She was kind of burnt out of sports, but she like did really well athletically.
Nice.
Her dad has a whole like downstairs shrine set up that's like, it's enormous.
Hit her like prime time of her sports.
Yeah. I think I had like 2 little trophies and a ribbon, and I think those got thrown away. So I have nothing from my sports career. You know, even my college stuff is, you know, in a paper bag somewhere.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm so sorry that you've had to go through that and your poor baby's had to
That's
too.
okay.
But she's
It's
on
part of her journey.
She's on the upscope.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, we're gonna kind of just close this out a little bit. I know we've been chatting for a long time, and I love to hear your story. But what advice would you give to a young coach just starting out who not only wants to win games but truly impact lives like you have?
Yeah, so you need to be in it for the right reasons. You need to be in it for making a positive impact in the lives of the kids and in that sport. So know what you're doing, and also know that you can always learn and get better. And if you're not willing to learn and get better, this isn't where you should end up. There's enormous amounts of content everywhere you look. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. There's coaches conferences all over the place. A lot of times hosted by coaching programs at the collegiate and even the pro levels that host these things. Yeah, you pay, you know, a few $100 or whatever, but it's well worth it.
Right. 100%.
And you learn tons and tons of stuff. So learn your craft. If you don't know how to get better with certain, like if you don't understand how to help develop kids from a ball handling standpoint, learn and then hire coaches that can help do that, and you can learn from them. So there's a variety of things you can do. But I think at the end of the day, you also need to have your priorities straight. Like it should be about the kids. Like I've won so many freaking trophies and championships, and I've done so much from a coaching standpoint. I could probably talk for the next hour about it. You wouldn't know any of that stuff. When I win the trophies, I give it the MVP, they get the 8-foot trophy or whatever it is. Like it's not about me. I want those kids to look back at their careers and be like, hey man, I had this amazing coach. Look at all the stuff we did and won and stuff. He impacted my life. I actually still talk to a lot of the kids that I coached, even when, you know, from 15, 20 years ago, that they're all.
Has anything stood out to you specifically?
I mean, they've all become amazing human beings.
That's awesome.
And they all are doing phenomenal in life. And I think, you know, for myself, like that's all I want to see. You know, some have played pro, which is awesome. It's always fun to see the kids that go overseas and play pro or whatever. And I get to stay in contact with them and stuff. And that's always fun. But you know, it's about them and their lives and improving it. And so if I can be a part of their journey in a positive way, that's why I do this. Yes, basketball is the catalyst, and I'm grateful for it because I love basketball and it's been a huge part of my life. And it's the reason why I'm sitting here today. If it wasn't for basketball, I probably wouldn't even be above the dirt at this point. So I'm grateful. And I want to make sure that I get to pass that on to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, because I'm getting older and I can absolutely kind of landmark decades here at this point. So
Well, thank you. That's super just, powerful in that point. I wish I would have had a coach like that growing up, that, it's more than just the game. It comes into your worth and your passion and your drive for the game, and that's rooted within the coach 150%.
Well, I wish I would have had a coach like me too, which is ultimately why I work so hard, because coaches do make differences.
They do, 100%. So tell me a little bit about where we can find you guys. Rain Basketball, website, social media.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So rainbasketballusa.com. Then you can find your chapter, Orange County, Inland Empire, Las Vegas, Denver. On Instagram, we're RainBBUSA. I really hate to admit this. I know we have a TikTok and a Twitter. I don't manage any of that. We have Lady Rain Basketball.
Nice.
So we have a few different Instagrams. But if you go to rainbasketballusa.com, all of our socials are on there.
Okay, perfect.
Which we have a social media team. And
Great.
So they do all that stuff. So you're asking such a great question. Go to the website, and everything else is there for you.
Well, to all our fans watching, there we go. We'll be able to find Rain Basketball, and maybe fans watching will want to get their kids involved in your program.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to have them.